a doctor in Oklahoma who overprescribed opioids and other prescription drugs has been charged with murder after several of her patients died as a result of the prescription pills that she prescribed them. Now, the doctor worked at the Sunshine Medical Center in Oklahoma, and unfortunately, one of the victims was Sheila Bartels, and she was given a dangerous cocktail of excessive prescription drugs that ultimately killed her back in 2012. The pharmacist handed her 510 pills that day, all legal because she had a prescription with the signature of her doctor, Regan Nichols. Now, that included hydrocodone, Xanax, and a muscle relaxant known as Soma. Nichols is charged with second-degree murder in the death of Bartels and 4 other patients, some of whom died just days after receiving large prescriptions from the doctor. Also,
can I just interrupt for a second? You know, when I first read started reading the story, saw the headline from the Chicago Tribune, I thought, man, they're arresting a doctor for overprescribing drugs, and she didn't kill him. The person took the pills. But then when I heard that there was 4 other deaths from the same doctor, then I started thinking, wait, apparently this person, I mean, if 3 patients already died from you overprescribing drugs, and you're like, whatevs, I'll keep overprescribing drugs,
right,
to the tune of 510 pills a day.
Not a day, 510 pills total with all the prescriptions filled.
But that day she got it.
Yeah, that day she received all of those pills, yes, right, from the pharmacy. Now, and look, keep in mind that, you know, these people trusted their doctor, right? And I want to be clear about another thing. We don't know what the intentions were of this doctor. We don't know if there was some sort of like pharmaceutical company corrupting her. We don't know any of that, right? That's all information that will play out in court. But what we do know is that in the very least, there was some negligence there because there had been deaths previously, and she continued prescribing these dangerous prescription drugs and mixing them in a way that leads to death, right? So let me give you some more details on that. She apparently, Nichols, prescribed more than 3 million doses of controlled dangerous drugs from 2010 to 2014, including irrational and dangerous combinations of drugs that led to 5 deaths. She prescribed patients who entrusted their well-being to her a horrifyingly excessive amount of opioid medications. Nichols' blatant disregard for the lives of her patients is unconscionable. That's according to Mike Hunter, who is the Attorney General in Oklahoma. Now, if you're wondering about precedent, you know, in cases like this, there have been doctors in the past who were sent to prison as a result of overprescribing dangerous drugs. So in February of 2016, another doctor, Lisa Sang, was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison after 3 of her patients fatally overdosed, according to the Los Angeles Times. So right now, obviously, we're dealing with a very serious opioid epidemic. It killed 33,000 people in 2015 alone, and the numbers continue to rise. And so understandably, I think authorities are now starting to turn to pharmaceutical companies and also to doctors that are overprescribing these drugs. It's a really big problem, and it's kind of scary to think about doctors facing severe consequences like this, because where do you draw a line? Like, when do you determine that a doctor overprescribed or was negligent or should be charged with murder? I don't know. I don't want it to get to a point where doctors are afraid to prescribe drugs to people who need them. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like this case showed that there were excessive drugs provided.
Well, so here's one rule of thumb. If 2 of your patients have died from prescription drugs that you prescribed to them, and you had prescribed a lot of them, be a little bit more careful going forward. And by the way, there is a possible motive, if you will. Now, Lisa Sang, remember, was convicted and was sentenced to 30 years to life. She had made millions from overprescribing opioids to drug-addicted patients.
Yeah.
So it's not to smear good doctors who are doing good work on this, but there are some that are clearly unscrupulous, as there are in every profession. And right now, the opioid abuse kills an average of 91 people a day. So yes, we could all afford to be a little bit more careful. And if your doctor, by the way, prescribes you that much, you don't have to take it. And come in with unfortunately, some doctors are incentivized in the wrong direction, whether it's from pharmaceutical companies or just to make more money from their business, right? And sometimes it is a business. So be careful, be very careful with prescription drugs. They do lead to opioid abuse, of course not every time, but a lot of times. So whether it's a painkiller or any of these other drugs, nice and easy. So in her case, after the Nichols case, 5 cases, that'll do it.
Yeah.
I'd look into charges.
Right, I mean, we'll see how it plays out in court, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, we're not saying they did it. That's for a court to decide. What do you get for Young Turks membership? It's a mystery. Only one way to find out. TYTnetwork.com/join.